Good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to everyone, and very happy Teachers' Day today to all the viewers watching, and of course our very special guests that we have today here with us. I think apart from our family and friends, it is our teachers who always have a kind of a permanent place in our hearts. And as we mark this special day dedicated to the spirit of sharing and of knowledge and values, and we also celebrate the release of the book, The Python Champions of Coding, authored by the young student Paarth. The book is also rooted in the same principles of mutual growth and taking everyone along. We are honored to have with us some very distinguished guests today. Mrs. Aditi Misra, a renowned educationist, an author, and the director principal of DPS Gurgaon. A very warm welcome to you, Mrs. Misra.
Thank you.
Very early in the UK. We're sorry to have bothered you so early in the morning. Professor Deepak John Mathew, who's a celebrated photographer, artist, and an author, and currently heads the Department of Design at IIT Hyderabad. A pleasure to have you with us, Professor Mathew.
Thank you.
And of course, our chief guest today, Mr. Amitabh Kant, though needs no introduction, he's amongst the finest of policymakers and administrators of India, and currently serves as the CEO of NITI Aayog. Thank you, Mr. Kant, for gracing this event, and a very warm welcome to you today.
My pleasure.
Before we move on to the discussion today on technology in education, enabling leaps or causing divides, let us begin by hearing from Paarth, our young author, who's a student of class 12th of DPS Gurgaon, about what really inspired him to write this book. His book incidentally opened up as the #1 and still is the #1 top release on Amazon, and also reached a bestseller status.
Wow, very good.
So, over to you, Paarth.
First of all, I'd like to thank Amitabh sir, Aditi ma'am, Deepak sir, Shobit sir, and everyone watching, and wish everyone a very happy Teachers' Day. My book could be considered a pandemic-inspired initiative. So last year, when I was in the 11th grade and I was having online education, I realized that I had a lot of time on my hands. So I took part in many online courses in programming to develop my skills and my interest for the subject. And I realized that some of our textbooks, though obviously written with the right intent, could be made much easier and clutter-free. And I also realized that there is a digital divide within us. And though I was able to get quality education online, some of my countrymen or even students all around the world were deprived of this because of their underprivileged status. And I wanted to make an effort to improve this situation in whatever little way I could. So that is why I decided to write the book. And I tried to make the content as easy and simple to understand as possible, and include practice activities and content that could be recognizable for young learners. And I have also decided to share all of my earnings from this book towards educating the underprivileged to improve the situation in whatever little way I can. And I'd like to conclude by saying that I believe that technology itself has the power to be inclusive, and we should be aware enough to harness it in a way that everyone can reap its benefits and be educated. Thank you so much.
Well said. Indeed, education is the key, and there can't be education without educationists, which brings me to you, Mrs. Misra. You had a school with almost 5,000 students in the conventional mode, and another 1,500 or so as a part of Shiksha Kendra, the not so privileged ones. And I'm sure somewhere studying in this school and your kind of leadership has brought this kind of sensitivity in Paarth, where he's aware of not just his own ecosystem, but things beyond that also. But coming back to the last 1.5 years with the kind of challenges the education system has faced, and specifically a school like yours, we would love to hear from you, your experience and your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Arya. I'll take off from what Paarth said just now, that technology is very inclusive. I mean, this screen shows that, with people connecting from UK, Hyderabad, Delhi, and Gurgaon. It's been made possible only by technology. However, we realized in March, April last year that nothing can be more divisive as well. Because the moment we took a decision to go online, it was all very well for my students, who are incidentally 6,000, not 5,000. But we immediately woke up to the challenge that it would pose for the Shiksha Kendra, the underprivileged, 1,500 plus children there, and the 2 government schools that we have adopted, in all our wisdom and all our love. But we realized that none of those children had devices. Yes, the house had 1 or 2 mobile phones, but in case the parents are working in whatever way, that mobile phone is not available to them. So if you recall, as a parent, I sent out an appeal that any device lying at home can be sent to school so we can give it out. We received quite a few, actually, more than 200. But then we were running short because I wanted to provide these to the senior students immediately, because they needed to sit for the OBE exam and the NIOS exam. So I appealed to my management, who very kindly gave me money for about 75 tablets immediately, I mean, overnight. And we provided these to the children. And I'm very happy to say that teachers and children were able to reach out to each other. The bigger problem was with the children in the government schools, who did not have. There was just 1 mobile phone at home. The government has incidentally done a lot as well. There is a Diksha channel which is online, which children can access in whatever time they want. I mean, it's completely asynchronous. They can look at the books and the modules in the evening, at night, whatever time. There is also a Swayam Prabha channel, which is on television. So anybody can access it. However, I think all of us are painfully aware of the fact that last year, several children committed suicide because of not even accessing those. So it was a sense of hopelessness, which I think we as enlightened citizens must address. We must look at it, because it's not enough. And I don't want people like Paarth to feel dejected that, I did something to simplify Python, and yet it has not reached everybody. So what can we do as adults, as educators? We have sent out appeals to whichever place that we could, that when the district administration gives out books to its students, I believe the cost is about 2,500 to 3,000 per child. Instead of that, if they give a tablet loaded with content, so much easier to access, so much easier to get through to, and immediately somewhere, well, you're not completely bridging the divide, but you're reducing the divide somewhat. And I think today, when we're talking about gamification of education, you're creating apps. And I think, I don't think apps can be made without knowing coding and programming. So I think Paarth's book comes like a breath of fresh air to those who want to learn. And I think it's one of those, something beginners guides for dummies like me. I know very little about technology, unfortunately, but I'm very eager to learn. So I am going to order this book. It's not available in the UK. I told you I did try online. So I'll be hopefully one of the first buyers as soon as I reach back, because I do think that children across must learn whatever they can, whatever is new, especially in the field of technology, because technology is getting outdated very fast. So you can't reach level 5 without having done level 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't jump into it. So I think if more children write, they take inspiration from Paarth, they read his book, they try and simplify other concepts, it's only going to be a win-win situation. And I don't have words to say how proud I am of Paarth for taking this plunge, because while we had children who were getting bored at home, or went completely berserk over video games. Here you have somebody who used his time most wisely, not just for himself, but for so many others. So that's my take, Mr. Arya. I really think that more children should write. I really think this digital divide has to be addressed, because I think digital education is here to stay now. Even if Corona goes, we have to be very conscious that there are so many pluses with this current system that we need to embrace, and we need to structure in such a way that every child wins. I'll give you another example. Our school has been part of an project by the CBSE to make graphic novels. A very, very interesting concept. And all those have found their way into Diksha as well. And I'm completely overwhelmed when a small child from Telangana in a small remote village writes to me and says, I really enjoyed reading physics through your graphic novel on a cricket match, because our school has made about 7-8 of these novels, but they're all still on Diksha. They're not in hard copies yet. So I think it's all a very positive step, new learning, new beginnings, and in all possible way to make it as inclusive as possible, because children are children. On Teachers' Day, I want to pledge till wherever I'm alive, I want to reach out to as many children as I can in all the ways that I can. And I need people like you to help me for that, Shobit.
Thank you. With all pleasure. And thank you so much, Mrs. Misra, for all your inspiration and encouragement. And, you know, what you said really is very, very important, I think, to bridge the divide. That also reminds me that, you know, this book is available both as a physical copy, as a Kindle edition, as an ebook everywhere. And Paarth has also made videos for YouTube. So we are trying to address all aspects of it. But thank you so much, Mrs. Misra. Now I come to Professor Mathew, who has done some incredible work in design intervention in a diverse range of areas. Professor Mathew, as an academic and a professional working at the cusp of technology and education, please share your insights with us.
Thanks. Thank you, Shobit, and congratulations to Paarth for coming out with this book. I have it here. I have it. I'm reading, and it's amazing. Actually, I was just looking at it, and in fact, the thing is, we always talk about evolution, and we always think that you know, after when we're talking about evolution, we think that it's happened millions of years before, but evolution is happening now also. If you look at it, it's in the brain. Actually, if you look at people like Paarth and, you know, young generation, they are absolutely one step ahead of the older generation in terms of learning. You know, even my grandfather used to teach me, you know, 1 to 64, up to 64 multiplication tables. You know, I had to by heart. But today, and he said, this is life skill, you need it. But today, I don't think you need it, because it's like, you know, same thing when I was talking to my son who was when we were second standard. He said, Appa, you just keep the cursor there, the spelling comes down. So, you know, then that was when my moment of realization, why do you want to learn spelling? So, and same thing, actually, sometimes what happens, every time when a tragedy hits, it also leaves, it's like Shani Dev, no? Like they say that whatever 27 or 7.5 years of Shani, when it goes, it gives you something back to you. You know, that that happens with in our generation, we are experiencing the pandemic. Earlier, people had their own problems to deal with. I think one of the boons which pandemic gave us was this digital, democratizing the digital. Otherwise, I don't think we would have so fast embraced this. I am realizing the speed of it. And, you know, interestingly, say, for example, places like IIT, people say that it's very difficult to get in, no? Like 10 to 12 lakhs people write the exam and few thousands get in. But now we have started digital online programs. So it is access to all, actually. So right now we have started, you know, online certification programs, online master's program. So educate it. Actually, I feel places like IIT, it is now accessible to everyone. So that is one of the advantages. And people like Paarth and all coming out with this book itself, it's a positive point you can see from this, actually. And especially in technology side, I always used to see, and I remember, I don't remember whose quote it is actually. If I cannot learn the way you teach. Can you teach the way I can learn? And I think this is one very good example. A book from a student is actually the way they want to learn. And I think it's a very good example. I think more and more students should write that book, textbook, rather than teachers sitting and writing textbooks. Because I feel that is the way we do it, you know. And when we're looking at technology, this online education is one part. The new AI-driven, you know, education systems are coming in, which is the need of the hour actually, because that is the only way we can actually reach everyone. You know, say simple example like, you know, online learning like Coursera and all. If you look at number of people learning from it, unbelievable number. So that is the only way we can do it. Of course, technological hitch, like countries like India, where we have a big digital divide. You know, that I think we should be able to look multiple levels of technology, like from a textbook, like exactly what you are doing, Paarth. You know, like on a YouTube to you know, on to textbook, to all those things. It's very, I think it's the right way. And if in fact nowadays a new, I am realizing that, you know, people learn more from this multiple mediums rather than, you know, conventional ways of things. So that is changing, and we as teachers, we need to change. You know, we have to learn and adapt to the ways of learning and teaching from the kids. Actually, how they want to learn, we should be able to do that actually. And the good news is I am also started learning Python from your book. You know, I typed that, what is it, hello world myself, and downloaded the Python and did. So it's very good actually. I think it's a wonderful effort, and all good wishes to you. And I think I'm hoping that this will inspire more and more people to come out with this kind of learning materials. So it becomes a really crowd generated knowledge actually, you know. So that is the need actually. So the information and knowledge should not be you know, concentrated in one places. So this will make the schools, every phone become a school actually. Every place where you're sitting become a school. And I think children becoming teachers, the role reversal is the need of the hour actually. Yeah. Thanks. I am your student, so you can teach me. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Mathew. That was fascinating, and I think this you said it so well that I think technology in a way has shattered the Brahminical nature of education, and with the democratization, and we had always you know, even crowdsourcing is a new concept, but I think what you suggested, and crowd generation in this sense, student generation education, that's very interesting. Thank you so much for your insights. And now we come to our chief guest for today, Mr. Amitabh Kant, who, apart from being a change agent, holds several responsibilities. Some of them very relevant for our topic today, including being a member of the Digital Communication Commission of India and the steering committee member of the World Economic Forum's Edison Alliance, which is focused on bridging the digital divide. May I request you to share your thoughts and your vision with us, Mr. Kant?
Shobit, Principal Aditi Misra, Professor Deepak John Mathew, and most important, Paarth Arya. You know, it's first of all, I would really like to congratulate this bright young man, Partha, for his book on a much sought after skill set, coding. And I'm sure this will help many get started with Python. I would also like to, you know, take this opportunity to extend my wishes to the teachers who are connecting us virtually on the occasion of Teachers' Day. And today, you know, on the Teachers' Day, I would say that, you know, all that I am today is because of the teachers who've taught me in my school and in my college. And therefore, teachers play a very, very valuable role in society. They are to my mind, the most critical change agent in society. And they leave a huge, huge imprint on young people, as they have on my life and as they are doing on the life of Paarth. Today, let me try and unpack how technology in education is actually enabling leaps both for the students as well as for the teachers. You know, the National Achievement Survey and several other reports, even including the reports by Pratham, do highlight that in any classroom, you will find students who are actually on a spectrum of learning levels. And quite often, one of the major challenges in our educational system is that while students keep passing classes after classes, the learning outcomes are extremely poor. And for instance, in grade 5 classroom, you may have a group of students at grade 5 level. Others may be at grade 3 level. And in few cases, there may be students even at grade 2 or even below. But these students keep passing classes after classes, and therefore the challenge is to improve learning outcomes. Now imagine the plights of teachers in these classrooms. Majority of them have a textbook of grade level 5 as their only teaching learning material. And on top of that, they have a syllabus to complete for all the students, irrespective of the fact that many students in these classrooms are not even ready for a lesson at grade level 5. And even with the best intention and motivation, the teachers lack the wherewithal to tailor their instructions at the real learning level of the students due to the paucity of both time and resources. And on the other hand, you have a scenario where the students feel alienated in the classroom when teaching learning is happening at higher levels than their current level, and eventually growing disinterest in studies and falling in the huge poverty of learning, the learning poverty trap. And therefore, my personal view is that technology has the potential to tackle both these challenges. First, technology can help the teachers to keep track of the learning progression for each of the students. Actually, each student can be tracked. And secondly, teachers could use personalized adaptive technology to tailor their instruction to the learning level of the students by practicing micro teaching to small groups. And while the teacher explains the concept in one group, the other group could attempt practicing questions using the technology solution. This assessment results in helping in forming a cloud-based cloud feedback loop for the teacher to alter the teaching to help students learn much, much more better. And actually, students' learning outcome can be tracked, and you can then focus individually on each student on what is it. Someone is doing well in maths, someone is doing well in history, someone is doing well in science, and then you can individually focus and give special classes to those students. And therefore, my view is that that is how technology will ensure equity in learning opportunities and equity of learning outcomes for all the students in a classroom. And this is very much doable through the use of technology. At the same time, technology will help teachers in handling a diverse set of students at the same time effectively. I must highlight that technology per se is very value neutral. It depends how one leverages technology for promoting social good. Whether one likes it or not, technology is already here and it is going to grow stronger. It is going to add more value to the life of students by democratizing learning. As the BharatNet spreads in rural areas in a very big way, you will see students sitting in remote villages of India accessing high quality higher education, school education from the best of teachers from all levels. And therefore, this Diksha portal, which Principal Aditi Misra talked about, actually has the best curriculum from the best teachers from across India. And I visited several aspirational districts, which are some of the most backward districts, where on a mobile phone linked to a smart board, you will find many of these places, the best teachers use through the Diksha medium, teaching students in remote parts of India. And therefore, it is helping students to improve their learning outcome. And that is the kind of revolution that technology in education can bring. You know, the mere spread of Diksha in all different regional languages across all villages from the best teachers, the best classes is accessible. And therefore, this will make a huge impact. I'm also very much aware of the digital divide that exists in the country. And as a result, many high-end benefits of technology in education might not be available for all for the present moment in the midst of this COVID crisis. But I personally feel that as BharatNet spreads to all the remote villages of India in the next 1,000 days, I see this as an opportunity. There are many innovations in education technology that have happened in the country. In one of the aspirational districts of Baka, the district collector has used mobile telephones to ensure that learning outcomes are very highly improved. And therefore, technology-driven education will greatly help the last mile students. The use of television, interactive radio instruction, and other low-tech interventions such as IVRS, etc., will grow many-fold to impart teaching and learning. Now, you have technology that doesn't require constant internet to access tailored lesson over tabs, mobiles, or laptops. Even if you get internet once in a while, the content gets uploaded and your performance gets recorded. The PM Vani scheme to set up free public Wi-Fi is already in place, which could prove instrumental in bridging the data divide. There has been a very huge increased effort by different government, India, all country. Now, from Greta has done an excellent job, a very unique job through the book. My personal view is it's very data rich, but to become a data intelligent country, you will increasingly see a huge number of artificial intelligence engineers being required. A lot of coders required, a lot of science, which should be at this very young age. Students will ways it will transform the lives of many students. It will make them more, technology will. And I would like to emphasize that actually technology is a great transformative power to democratize learning. We need to embrace technology. We need to own it, and we need to use it for making sure that each and every student actually performs exceedingly well on learning outcomes. And this will not happen, and let me assure you that this will not happen without access to technology. Technology will actually be the greatest leveler to ensure better learning outcomes in this country. With the increasing trend in personal devices and budgetary support for ICT-enabled education, we will definitely reap the maximum benefit of what technology in education has to offer, both for our students as well as teachers. There may be an immediate crisis of a digital divide, but I'm sure that in the long run, this has the power to democratize learning and improve learning outcomes like never before. And I would really like to take this opportunity to congratulate Partha on his fascinating book, The Python Champions of Coding. And I wish him all the best. And I'm sure that his book will demonstrate that technology in education will enable leaps forward rather than just causing divides. It'll be an instrument of ensuring that India marches ahead in this quest for technology and that students become the driver of this onward march. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kant. You were thought-provoking and clear-sighted as ever. And one can't agree more that, technology itself has the power to bridge all the divides and it is very heartening to know all the steps that our current government is taking to ensure that this digital divide is bridged. I think it is imperative that we have digital inclusion to make sure that we meet the sustainable development goals. And I think it is in that context that the role of civil society and individual efforts needs to be recognized, encouraged, and celebrated. Taking inspiration from each one, teach one, one could adapt it for the digital world by saying each one, reach one. With that, it's a wrap. A heartfelt thank you to all our very special guests here for giving us the time and insights. Thank you so very much.